Well, hello my friends, welcome back to the channel. It is really great to have you back. For those of you who don't know me or aren't familiar with my work, my name is Adrian and I am a travel and portrait photographer based out here in Santa Clara, California. And my mission is really simple, and that is to help you get more outdoors and be as creative as possible. In this video, I'm going to be doing a breakdown of what's in my car camping kit. I already have a sister video related to this that's already up on my channel, and that is a what's in my backpacking kit. So if you have some questions that you need answers to, you're trying to build out your own backpacking kit, definitely use that because it's a really good resource. And if you have some questions, go ahead and drop them down in the comments below and I'd be happy to help answer them too. I work in the outdoor retail industry and I've piecemealed all the stuff that I have both within my backpacking kit and in my car camping kit for the past couple of years. Still building it out, but at the same time I feel like I'm in this really good spot where I feel like I have a kit that suits my needs. And that's going to be the theme of this video, is understanding what your needs are and also just trying to address like some generalizations and questions, because ultimately we want a system that works with what your needs are. With all that in mind, we're going to be talking about like what my sleep system looks like, what my organization looks like, what my cook system looks like. We're going to go through the whole 9 yards. We have a lot to digest. Go ahead and sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee and hang out with me. At the same time, all the products I'm going to be showing here will have affiliate links to it. So if you want to go ahead and support the channel and also pick yourself up something really nice too, you can knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. First things first, let's talk a little bit more about sleep system. Before we get to talk about a little bit of a sleep system, as well as just the other systems in general too, think about who you are as a camper and also who you're going to be with. Now, I like solo camping because I love peace and quiet. I love it when people don't hit me up on my emails. At the same time, I also love camping out with a group as well too. So that's also going to determine what it is that your sleep system, as well as your cook system, as well as just your whole general system looks like. Speaking of a sleep system, you can consider this in 2 different routes. Take me, for example. I am a solo camper. Chances are, if I'm going to be solo camping by myself, I want to have the most maximum protection and most maximum insulation. And that means I'm not going to be sleeping more in my tent. Rather, I'm going to be sleeping more in my car because I find that it is really safe. Subaru Crosstreks, totally awesome. Changed the game for me. I used to sleep out of my tents, but at the same time, it gets really cold. Sometimes dark, a little bit scary, especially when you're going to be solo camping. So just having something that like encapsulates me, makes me feel safe, and also protects me from like, say, wildlife that's intruding onto my campsite is going to be really nice, because I have been in situations where people have gotten their cars maybe not even broken into, but just even rocked by wildlife, or even like their campsites intruded on because they had some scents lingering around, food like out in the bench, whatever it may be. On the opposite end of the spectrum, we have tents. Relative to sleeping in your car, tents come in a variety of different shapes, forms, and sizes. You can sleep in a tent on top of your car. There's options for those. Otherwise, you can sleep in a tent on the ground level, go tried and true, old school. At the same time, also think about like how many people that you're going to be bringing along. The only times that I'm going to be really using a tent myself is if I have multiple campers and I need to have a unit that houses multiple of us at a given time too. The other thing to consider is like how comfortable you want the tent to be, how luxurious you want it to be. There are tents where it's just like, hey, the main purpose is just going to be sleeping. At the same time, think about like, hey, how comfortable do I want to be? Do I want something where it has like a lot of standing height so that way I can actually like walk around in it without having to crouch down low? Do I want to have something where it's nice, big, and spacious so that way I can add like, say, multiple pads, multiple cots, whatever it may be. Now, the other thing that you're looking out for when it comes to picking out a tent versus sleeping in your car is that with a tent, you have a lot more ventilation versus sleeping out in your car. So get something that has not only good ventilation, but also just like how you're going to be ventilating it too. Relative to a car, while you do have a little bit less ventilation, you have more insulation, so really good for those colder nights, and you have a little bit more protection just in case you have some, say, like critters or wildlife like poking their heads around at night, just in case they're a little bit curious or you're a little bit hungry. Now, kind of on that same thread too, when you're going to be sleeping in a tent, you may not have as much protection relative to, say, like a car, but at the same time, if you are going to be sleeping in a tent, just make sure that like your campsite is secure, because you definitely don't want critters coming around in your campsite at night. This right here is my tried and true sleeping pad for when I'm out car camping. I will definitely not take this backpacking. I definitely have my own separate backpacking pad. But this right here, I would say is like the cream of the crop, more like the Cadillac of like all sleeping pads when it comes to car camping. This right here is the brand Exped, and I have the Megamat 10 LXW. It is a bit of a mouthful, but at the same time, this is super comfortable and makes it really easy to sleep on and like really plush. It feels like I'm just sleeping on a mattress out there when I'm in the wilderness. It takes up quite a bit of space within my trunk at the same time, but however, I will say it is one of the most comfortable things that you're going to use when you're just out there versus like sleeping on a pad that has like very minimal foam. Instead of using the hand pump that comes with it, I have used a hand pump a couple times. It takes about like 10 to 15 minutes of like consistent pumping. I rather just make life easier on myself so that way I have more time to set up my camp, which is why I have this Exped pump over here. Now this Exped pump, it is a little bit of an older model, but it still gets the job done really well. I would say it cuts like the time in half when it comes to inflating my sleeping sleeping pad. It's also really cute in the sense that it can function as a light, and it is also universal and comes with an adapter, so that way I'm not limited to just using this only on Exped branded products. Rather, I can just use it on a variety of products as well too. Now this right here is a hefty boy. It's a pretty thick one, I will say. At the same time, it is a really nice sleeping bag, but it can also function as a blanket too. The reason why I got this sleeping bag was for a couple different reasons. For one, the price point was just super approachable, and this, by the time of this video, is about like $60 retail. And at the time that I got it, I was just like really stoked about it because, again, I can use this for multiple different uses. I can use it for either sleeping out there in the wilderness, or I can use it as a blanket. I don't even have to use it when I'm just out there in the woods. I could just even use it when I'm like over at a friend's house, sleeping over, whatever it may be. I can travel with it. It will fulfill a variety of different functions, and that's another key thing that I want you guys to keep in mind when I'm talking about these systems and just like building out the kit too. You're gonna get the most bang for your buck when you can use different tools for different needs and purposes. Like, I can use this blanket and sleeping bag in multiple different contexts. It's not just limited to just only camping itself too. But speaking about the pad itself too, it's a synthetic bag, not down, so that way it helps not break the bank too. At the same time, it's a 30-degree bag, and for California weather, and I'm just sleeping in my car, chances are I'm going to be well warm. I'm not going to be overheating, but if I am going to be overheating, I will go ahead and unzip the bag too, so that way I can go ahead and dump a lot of hot air out. So very multifaceted, absolutely love this thing. I would say the only drawback with it is that it is a pretty thick boy. It does take up quite a bit of space within the trunk itself, but if you're going to be solo camping, I would say you're only really limited to the amount of space that you have available within your car, so that way you don't have to necessarily worry about space. Moving along, let's go ahead and take a step away from the sleep system itself and talk a little bit about storage as well as just organization. I feel like very similar to the philosophy when you're out there backpacking, the more efficient that you are in storing your things and having a place for where things are, the more effective that you're going to be as a backpacker. Very similar concept applied to when it comes to car camping. Now, when you are a much more efficient car camper and organizer, you are a much more effective car camper too, because you have a place for everything. You're not trying to fumble through things, and you have systems in place to make sure that you have what you need at the time that you need it. I have a lot of gear bags, and that's what exactly helps me store everything that I need and keep myself organized and on top of my game. So I have a storage bag for all my utensils. I have the Snow Peak Gear Unit Box 220 over here, so it's a nice deep gear unit box. I absolutely love it because there's a lot of different dividers. I can mix and match it depending on what kind of tools I'm bringing at a time. I also have this little brother over here, the Gearbox Unit 110. So I'm going to use this mainly for like fuels. Keep my fuels for like my Jetboil, my home and camp burner, just separate from the rest of my tools. The other thing that I have here over too is going to be a storage bag, a cooler, specifically for say like cold drinks, fresh produce, whatever it may be. Speaking of coolers, I also use a Yeti 45-liter cooler. I absolutely love that thing. It is big, it's bulky, and does take up quite a bit of space within the trunk itself, but at the same time, I know when I'm using it properly and using it with Yeti ice in conjunction with just regular ice too, that it keeps my stuff nice and insulated and protected from like any kind of like debris or even kind of like wildlife coming into my campsite. And it does fit into a bear vault too, so I'm not worried about leaving anything with a scent in my car. Keeping the train rolling, I also have my Patagucci Birkin bag over here. I absolutely love this thing. It's a black hole style, so that means I can go ahead and just dump things in, take things out. It's a nice wide open body, and I can fold this up however small I need it to. And last but not least, my tried and true Basecamp Voyager 42 liter by North Face. I absolutely love this thing for a couple different reasons. It's a weatherproof bag. It is somewhat water resistant too. At the same time, it is pretty spacious, and I can carry it on planes, and it doesn't take up a lot of space within my car. It does fold into itself really nicely. And the other thing I love about this too, that I feel like relative to other bags out there in the market, is that this right here that you're seeing right now, this is the side pocket. This folds into itself really well without having to really fight your bag. Plus, it's not heavy at all. It's 2.2 pounds, so really easy to just carry around. Makes life a lot simple, and this is exactly what we're trying to do. Make life simple when we're out there in the field. Let's get into one of my favorite systems in the video, and that being the cooking system. As much as I love eating when I'm out there in the field, I also love sharing meals with the homies, cooking for them, or even cooking for myself too. I am a very simple man, and I love making very simple meals. I'll have, say, like ramen for dinner, or I'll have eggs in the morning. However, to get to that state, I need to have the right tools for the right job. Now, when it comes to building out your cooking system, there's a couple things that I would say consider first things first before it starts blowing a lot of money on different systems. For one being, what it is that you're ultimately going to be bringing. Are you going to be bringing like fresh produce? Are you going to be bringing meats? Are you going to bring some like fragile items, delicate items, whatever it may be? And you want to have the right food storage containers. I myself use a Yeti 45-liter cooler. At the same time, I use a Bison cooler. That's going to be a little bit more of the softer shell kind of variant compared to the hard shell variant. So the Yeti is going to be making more of like the more durable things, the more delicate things that I'm going to just go ahead and store in there, along with the Yeti ice and the regular ice, so that way I can keep things fresh and just cool throughout the duration of the trip. At the same time, for the Bison cooler, the soft shell one, I use that for more like maybe drinks or maybe like fragile items like glasses of bottles, or even like things like where jars. So I have different food storage containers for different things, but I can use them interchangeably. I can use them either at home or I can use them when I'm out there in the field too. At the same time, when it comes to utensils, I like bringing utensils not only for myself, but for other people as well, because you never know who you're going to be out there with, whether it be like people at your designated campsite or people that are going to be sharing campsites like right next door to you. Help people out wherever best you can. And I would say like sometimes really some of the cool interactions that I have whenever I'm out there solo camping, or is when I'm sharing things with other people. I would say too, when it comes to building out your camp system and your cook system, is going to be understanding, can you use these tools in multiple different ways in one? Now, for example, I have this guy over here. I have the Home and Camp Burner by Snow Peak, and I love having systems where I can use not only in the context of using it out there in the field, but I can use it at home too. It's small, compact, lightweight. I can use this either at home or when I'm out there in the field. It's also just really easy to use, just really intuitive overall as well too. I mean, just look at this thing first. It's the size of a 99-cent Arizona can, so you know it's not going to be taking up a lot of space. But at the same time, for as small as compact as it is, it does carry quite a bit of punch to it as well. As speaking for it being really easy to use, you have this golden button over here. Just go ahead and press that. It folds out really elegantly too. Also, you can just go ahead and store the butane canister within the housing unit. It's not exposed to any like elements, any like heat. It's well protected, so that way you know that your campsite is secured. At the same time, this dial over here, just really easy to use whatsoever. You have a couple different settings. At the same time, I would still go ahead and bring a lighter too, so that way you can go ahead and have like say a reliable flame and to get your burner going. Once your burner gets going, you can start to get going with your cooking too. Now, speaking of my Home and Camp burner, obviously you need to have something to go ahead and cook your food on, and I have this over here. It is a Jetboil pan, and I have picked this up earlier this year because I feel like I have finally found the pan that works with my needs. I have a spatula integrated within the handle too. It's really easy to go ahead and pop out. It does have a nice shape to it, so that way it can conform to the contours of the pan itself. And initially, I was a little bit reluctant about the handle itself too. I didn't think it was going to be as durable because it is made a little bit of a plastic, and it can actually hold things really well. But overall, I feel like Jetboil in general, they just make some really solid stuff that you can use in multiple different ways in one. Speaking of Jetboil, I have already highlighted this in my backpacking vid. However, I'm going to highlight it here because it is my one and only, my tried and true, my absolute trusted partner, and there's the Jetboil mini meal over here. I love this thing for a lot of different reasons. For one, I can go ahead and make my most simple meals and my most delicious meals, that being ramen. It has a nice wide open mouth, so that way I can just go ahead, dump my water in, dump my contents in, and actually like comfortably stir things around and just get all the mixings in, whether it be like mushrooms, eggs, or like green onions, the whole 9 yards. At the same time, because of just how it's designed too, I just feel like I can go ahead and put this at a simmer because of how the stove has a simmer function. I can dial back on the heat, or I can ramp up the heat, so that way my contents aren't overflowing. Now, speaking of the Jetboil system and just the Minimo itself too, not only am I cooking food with it, but I can cook and heat up things that aren't food as well too. Another one of my favorite tools that I love using whenever I'm using my Jetboil Minimo and I'm not cooking anything with it and just boiling water, but also making some really nice warm drinks, is this guy over here. This right here is a decanter. I can go ahead and just warm up water or just any other contents within it safely and securely. And what I love using this for is just warming up some hot sake with this decanter over here. I just feel like I haven't found anything else particularly like it. And part of that being is not only is it really well designed, but I can't find anything else that has like an integrated rope system. Once the decanter gets a little bit too hot, I can go ahead and just put my fingers around the rope and just go ahead and pull this out, or I can even pull it out through the loop over here too once it's done boiling. Another item that I love using that I've actually picked up this year, and I've used it before too, but now I have my own, is going to be this guy. Now this over here is a Snow Peak chopping board set with a knife. It's a very simple, elegant piece of wood that it just folds out into itself. It is a nice large area, so that way I can chop multiple different things on it. What I love about the knife too is that it is magnetic. Like, look at this. It's like Dairy Queen, when you have like those Frosties or like the ice creams where you just go ahead and like turn it upside down and it just stays like that. That's exactly what it does right over here. What I just love about this chopping board set in particular is that you can go ahead and collect this in different areas. I got this one over at Land-Based Nagoya based out in Japan. And just what I love about Snow Peak products in general is that because they have multiple different storefronts in different countries, you can go ahead and pick yourself up some really exclusive equipment. So that way it's just a really cool journey and experience and just talking point that when you meet people that you have something where you brought it over from like say the Pacific to say wherever you are. I can't leave home without this or my campsite without this unless I have both pieces within the system itself too. This is one investment where I felt really reluctant at first to go ahead and buy and I thought was actually rather silly, but it's like that saying goes, you don't know the value of something unless you lose it. And I have used this before and I'm really glad that I have picked one up for myself. This square unit is a sink. It's a folding sink too. It's durable, it's sturdy, and I have an actual drainage unit over here. I feel like I don't think I have seen anything else like this, like ever since I bought it about like a couple years ago. I'm sure there are others out there like it, but I absolutely love this one too because again, it has a nice deep dish sink, so that way I can carry multiple units, and then when I need to get the job done and just go ahead and dump out my water, rinse things off, I would highly recommend getting yourself a sink when you can too, because it will change your world night and day. This right here is a folding torch by Snow Peak, and I will say it helps make starting fires so much easier. While yes, you can use like say a flint, a match, whatever it may be to go ahead and start your fire, I feel like this is just really easy to use. It's plug and play. You have the dial right over here, so that way you can just go ahead and determine how much gas you're outputting and also reeling back as well too. This right here is the Snow Peak Kozuki lantern. What I find so different about this lantern relative to like some other lights and lanterns out there in the market is that there's just really something about having a nice warm light to just make your camp or even your home like really warm and like inviting too. After a long day of just like say hiking or just like being out there in the wilderness. Speaking in terms of functionality too, what I love about it is that it has a hook, so that way when I'm retiring for the night, I can just go ahead and hook this onto the door handle of my car. At the same time, it is rechargeable, so that's the really cool thing about it. I love having rechargeable units versus like having batteries, so that way I don't have to worry about carrying equipment. And last but not least, this silicone kind of material, it is removable, but I will say it is actually a pretty durable piece of silicone material, so that way if you want to go ahead and pack it down, you totally can. And if you want to just place this on the table, just super easy. It actually holds up really well too and doesn't fold on itself. Alright my friends, we have talked through a lot of gear. We have talked through a lot of considerations. At the same time, while I have you here, I just want to go ahead and talk about a couple things I've picked up along the way, so that way if you want to go ahead and elevate your camping experience, you can so choose to if you do. Now, starting off with first things first over here, if you want to go ahead and recharge your equipment after a long day, whether you're out there using your phone, snapping it for the gram, or even like filming content for people to share too, definitely bring one of these as well. This right here is a power unit. It is a hefty boy. At the same time, this does pack quite a punch as well too, because I'm out there traveling with my camera, whether it be like my phone or even my main body camera. I need to have something that I can go ahead and charge up my batteries after a long day. I also have other rechargeable equipment too, like the lanterns as well as the headlamps. This can definitely be foregone if you don't need anything like this. If you're just going to be off your phone, putting it on airplane mode because you're probably going to have like not really good cell phone reception to begin with, you can save a lot of battery that way too. So yeah, I would say when it comes to having a power bank, like I mentioned in my backpacking video, this is something that you can use when you're out there, not necessarily a need, but it all is context dependent too. Now, when it comes to getting the vibes right, setting the ambiance, and just posting up after a long day of hiking and kicking your feet up, I will say I love using this chair one right over here by Helinox. I have used this either when it comes to camping or at home or on the beach. I can really take this anywhere. Not only is it compact, really easy to deploy, it is low profile, but even then if it's low profile, I don't feel like I'm kind of floating into myself too much because of how the chair itself just contours around the body when you sink into it. I feel like it has a nice snug kind of like contour to it. For my needs and what I need out of this chair, it gets the job done. And last but not least, something to elevate my camping experience is something that I absolutely loved using in my time over at Albuquerque Campground, and what I'm looking forward to in my future camping trips is going to be this guy over here. Alright, up and at him. Alright, now this right here is the Takibi by Snow Peak. It is a portable campfire kit, and what I love about it is that it's all inclusive. It has not only the bag to carry your stuff in, it has the base plate, it has the fire pit, it has the bridge to go ahead and hold things up, and it also has the grill itself too. So you have 5 key pieces of equipment, and if you want to go ahead and build up more of your equipment, say like with the fire gloves or even like some tongs, you can definitely go ahead and pick that out yourself. I would definitely recommend getting the coal bed first, so that way you can have a nice even platform, so that way if you want to cook on things, you can have a nice even flame going on. But just getting into the Takibi set itself, I absolutely love this thing, and it was one of the things I was looking forward to the most when it comes to building out my campfire. I will say, when it comes to building out your campfire, definitely understand what the restrictions are, if any, when building out your campfire, and call up the ranger station if you are unsure. I would also recommend getting a campfire permit too. You can get those online. I'll go ahead and drop a link to the one I use in the description below, so that way you can go ahead and read up more about it. There are other different websites that you can use. I will say that when I called up the ranger station over at Albee Creek Campground, I was told that I would need to put the fire pit within the fire pit container itself too, so that way I can just go ahead and contain my fire appropriately and make sure that not only I'm safe, but the people around me are safe too. And what I love about this thing too is that I can go ahead and grill with it, gather people around the fire, go ahead and make some like s'mores, maybe make some mushrooms, or even like some other kind of like goodies for myself, which I have done in the past. And I'm only just looking forward to using this more even later down the line as well. Whew. Well then, my friends, we are at the end of the video. However, we are not at the end of this journey. Rather, it is the start of a really cool and beautiful journey, and I will continue along my journey and take you guys too, so that way I can show you some really cool things that we have here in California. However, something that I want to impart with you guys is that, as you can imagine, as we're talking about like these different considerations and like talking about all these different kinds of gear and showcasing you this gear too, is that the biggest question is going to be, what does the cost look like? Now, like I mentioned earlier on, I have been working in the outdoor retail industry for about like 3 years now, and I got to this point because I was just piecemealing my items together over that course of time. Camping gear can be really expensive, don't get me wrong. However, if you feel like, hey, like you're not really ready to invest into all this gear all at once, or you just want to get your feet wet, don't worry, I got you. A really cool place that you can go ahead and rent out your gear is going to be Sports Basement. I work at the one over at the Redwood City location, so if you have any questions, if you want to get set up with the right gear, come go ahead and find me. I'm happy to help set you up, or even answer some questions that you may have in the chat itself too. And what I love about renting with Sports Basement too is that even for the people that just want to go ahead and like, you know, just do like a weekend, or like want to go ahead and camp out maybe like once or twice a year, don't worry, we got gear for you. You can go ahead and rent out the gear either by a la carte, or if you want to go ahead and rent out the whole entire package and experience, we got your back there too. I will say, for summer being one of the busier months with a lot of different holidays and people just being out and about, definitely go ahead and reserve your gear, especially for like those 3-day weekends too, because you just want to make sure that you have everything that you need all in one place, and you don't have to worry about having to piecemeal things together at the very last minute. So with all that in mind, my friends, I will go ahead and drop some links about like what kind of rentals that Sports Basement has to offer, whether it's the a la carte or even the packages. Again, if you have any questions, come go ahead and find me. If you have any questions about like some of the gear that I have here too, more than happy to answer them. But until next time, my friends, I will go ahead and see you all in the next video, and stay safe out there and happy camping. Until then, peace out.